Welcome to a Friday night episode of Taking It to the Nub. I'm your host, Boston Jimmie, and tonight I have a pretty exciting show. I have a team on tonight. This is a team that makes up what's called the Rooster Smoke House. Now, each one of these folks has made a cigar for this company. Each one has a specific discipline that they have. You know, you'll learn one's an architect, one's an entrepreneur, and they got cigars named after each of those lines. And we're going to get into the details of the Rooster Smokehouse. We also are going to have a young lady, Monique, on, who is a consultant and is helping them grow their business. So this should be a fun show. So with that, we just have to give our shout out to our sponsors, as we always do.
Brought to you by Casa Cuevas Cigars. In the 19th century, Juan Cuevas, Spanish immigrant from Santander, began what was to be a family business which now spans 4 generations. Like others fortunate enough to live and work in Pinar del Rio province of Cuba, Juan commenced cultivating tobacco, turning it into a successful business. Years later, in the Ciabo Valley of the Dominican Republic, Luis Cuevas Sr., Juan Jr.'s son, carried on the family tradition of handcrafting fine cigars in the family's cigar factory, Tabacalera Las Lavas. Today, Luis Sr. is joined by his son Luis Jr. in the manufacturing and sale of premium long filler cigars. So check out Casa Cuevas Cigars at www.casacuevascigars.com and on their Instagram and Facebook channels.
Catelli Cigars is back. The past few years brought many questions and changes to the cigar industry. In the wake of all uncertainty, Catelli Cigars decided to take a break and try their hand in the retail side of cigars. With 2 shops under their belt, first Riverside Cigar Bar, and now the Catelli Cigar Lounge in Vero Beach, Florida, they are now more educated in the retail and the wholesale sides of the cigar business. During this time, they received many inquiries about their cigars returning to the market. Making the difficult decision to take a break from their brand was eased, knowing that when the time was right, Catelli would be back, and now they are. Catelli is excited to bring their first release, the Catelli Box Air, back to market. The Box Air, a rich box-pressed San Andreas Mexican Maduro with a Nicaraguan binder and filler, come in Box Air's 3 original sizes, Robusto, Toro, and Gordo. You can check out Catelli Cigars at catellicigars.com. And also check out their Facebook and Instagram pages.
Right. All right. Let's bring in the Rooster Smokehouse crew. Good evening, folks. How you all doing? Welcome to Taking It to the Nub.
I like it. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. How you doing?
Good, good. What I'd like to do is just kind of go around the room for a second and have you all introduce yourselves. Normally I just give one introduction, but we've got 4 people here. So let me allow you to introduce yourselves and very briefly what you do, and then we'll get into what the Rooster Smokehouse is all about. Okay, we'll start with Monique because she's kind of like
Hey guys, I'm Monique Jones, Cigar Bar Tech, and the founder of Mojo Consulting and Training. And I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for the invite to have us on and to definitely highlight these guys to the right. They're going to tell you all about themselves. Mojo Consulting and Training actually works with different brands to assist them. And I had the pleasure of working with Rooster Cigars at PCA this year. So they're going to tell you about everything that they've learned. We were able to bring in a social media director. We were able to bring in a development person just to give them some, hey, this is what's going to happen. Expectations, things that you have to look forward to. So sometimes when you start, you go in there blind. We wanted to be the one to be able to support them. So they're going to tell you all about their fabulous cigar. I'm smoking the entrepreneur myself. So we're going to get this lit and on to you guys.
We'll go to
All right.
Wayne.
Oh, Wayne.
Okay. How you doing there? My name is Wayne Gaskin. I am one of the co-founders of the Rooster Smoke House Cigars. The cigar that I've created for the line, for our founders line, is the Genius, which is a mild to medium-ish cigar. It's essentially made to be paired with rum. So, which is a little bit different than the majority of, what cigar smokers will tend to drink. You tend to want to pull up a bourbon or whiskey and things of that nature. My family is from Trinidad and Tobago, so rum is in my blood, So when I crafted that cigar, I did it with rum in my mind.
Fantastic.
And in my heart.
Thank you. Go to Thomas and team up top.
Hey, how's it going, Tom Brokaw, CEO of the Rooster Cigars. The one that I crafted is the Architect, which is what I'm smoking right now. I see Jimmie smoking that as well. I actually crafted that after this first cigar that actually got me into liking cigars. So the Davidoff 2000 was the first cigar that I really enjoyed and pulled me into the cigar smoking industry. So it's a Connecticut Ecuadorian wrapper, Carrera 98 binder, Dominican filler. I put it in the Churchill because for architecture, it's just I'm an architect by trade. So all of our cigars are actually named with our professions. Wayne is also an architect as well, but I already took the name, so he had to go with Genius. But so I put it in the Churchill just so when you close a deal, it's a deal closing cigar.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian Punter, the CFO of the Rooster Smoke House. I do accounting finance for a living, owner of BS Consultant, one of the co-founders of the Rooster Smoke House. Of course, my cigar is the accountant, San Andreas wraps, Carrillo 98 binder, Dominican filled, medium to full body, nice, smooth, enjoyable all the way through. Originally from Bronx, New York, so always got shout out to hometown, always.
Yeah.
And I think we're missing one other who wasn't able to make it here today, who has a cigar called the Entrepreneur.
That's correct. So, and that's Terrence McCray. He's a retired commander out of the Navy, originally out of Chicago, Illinois. He's a serial entrepreneur. So he came up with the Entrepreneurs. That's what his cigar is called. But that's a Nicaraguan binder, Honduran. No, excuse me, a Nicaraguan wrap, Honduran binder, Dominican filler. A torpedo.
Okay. Thank you. And everybody's smoking their cigar tonight?
I'm smoking mine, yes.
Yes.
You're smoking yours. Thomas, you're smoking yours. Wayne?
I'm not smoking mine. I ran out of them, actually.
Oh, so you
Never
sold
smoked it, I
out
want to
already.
fly.
You got to listen to the
Right,
genius.
he lost it. But I'm smoking Terrence's, so I'll take his.
There you go.
Pass it across the screen when you can.
There you go.
All right, so I met you guys at PCA. I thought you had a pretty cool booth, and you seem to have been very active. And I was attracted because it's like the Rooster Smoke House. You got to help me understand the name and others. Yeah, how did you come up with this? The Rooster Smoke. And by the way, your tagline is, "Where do you roost?"
Exactly.
So
So Jimmy, if you
somebody
allow me
take
to,
that one and run with it.
yeah, if you allow me to take it around with it, essentially we were going to open up a lounge. We didn't have a brand or a blend or any blends to go after at that point. And we started in 2020. And so as right as we were about to sign our lease, actually up here in DC, the DC area, really specifically Silver Spring, COVID hit, right? So when COVID hit, didn't think that lounge was the best thing to kind of get into a business on, so we pulled back on, right? And we actually had the opportunity of meeting a master blender, Luis Sanchez of La Tradición Cubana. Met him through a architecture graduate friend of ours from Florida A&M that Wayne and I went to, and he introduced us to Luis, and his name is Henry Stokes. And so Henry had a brand which we actually eventually acquired called Trilogy from Lewis. And so once we got that, we started figuring out how we can do our own blends. And so we worked through that for about a year and a half, and then came up with the blends that we have now, and decided to name them after our professions. And so the Rooster Smoke House, I mean, I'm originally from South Carolina. Um, it was a brainchild of mine, and the Rooster is just something that just exemplifies, the Carolinas. If you're a Gamecock fan like myself, but but also along with that, it's just dawn of a new day. It was a new business venture that we were all venturing into. It symbolizes leadership, and just saying things with your chest out, which we all do. And that's one thing that's very impressionable about all the folks who are a part of this particular brand, is that we're not afraid to say what we mean and what we think as we make business decisions. So
Okay.
the Smokehouse is where it came.
How did you come? How did you come to meet each other, though? I mean, are you in business together besides this? Are you all in the accountant business or the architecture business, in an office, or did you just meet at a bar?
Well, I'll say my part. I met them where they're sitting now, Casa de Monte Cristo. So the guys are,
How'd you know?
yeah, I got you. Yeah, at the favorite spot in DC. So we used to smoke together for a long time. And me and Tom and Terrence, and I've seen the guys a couple of times, but then, they kind of found out what I did and they were like, okay. And so I had gone the year before with someone. I was like, they were like interested in going. I was like, well, let's make this. Terrence was the guy that rounded everybody, was like, all right, let's make this happen. So that's how I met them all. Great guys. I love what they're doing and the fact that it's their profession. So that's different. Like normally, people name cigars for whatever reasons, but this time it was like, oh, you're an architect, you're an accountant. Interesting. Tell me more. So it was something that made me think. Like even Wayne, your story with being a genius. I'm like, okay, well, why are you a genius? Like, what makes you a genius? Those are
I am an excessively creative thinker.
right. And I was like, why are you a genius? So those were things that made, and I said, and these guys worked real well together. So I was like, it's perfect. And it's great working with them and being around them. But that's how I met everyone. So
Yeah. I mean, and if I can pick up, and I'm not going to take over the whole thing, but I will speak to this piece. And first of all, with Mo, she and her company has been a blessing for us as we are growing our business. Certainly, as we came out to the PCA, she kind of gave us the lay of the land and how we need to move around and operate. But how we answer your question specifically, Jimmie, how we met each other is so myself and Wayne were actually college roommates in the architectural program at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee. So we have a long relationship. We know each other a long time. And then when I came up here, I'm actually also a member of an organization called Omega Psi Phi, which is a fraternal organization. And that's how I met Brian Punter. And so Brian Punter, and then with Terrence's wife and my wife also are born and grew up in Kenya, Africa, in Nairobi. And when they were actually, and both of them were in the military and the Navy, and when they were actually moving from California over to the DC area, they stayed with us for a second. So me, Terrence and I, we sit out in the back porch, actually in the backyard. Actually, we had the fire pit going. I brought out some cigars. He brought out the whiskey and scotch, and by the end of that, great friends.
That sounds like Terrence too. That sounds like Terrence.
From that point on, essentially, I'd always been trying to get the Rooster. The Rooster's always been a brainchild of mine, just in that sense of getting a lounge going. And so just understanding that all these different individuals had the same like mindset. We all came together, pitched the idea, everybody was on board, and then we started moving from there.
And how'd you meet Wayne?
So Wayne and I were college roommates.
College roommate.
College roommates. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, so we went to school together at FAMU, Florida A&M University, which is the greatest HBCU that ever existed and will continue to exist. So, just for anybody who doesn't know.
That's right.
All right.
I do want to add a little bit to the story.
Well, we're shouting out schools and professions. I should just make a cigar you call the engineer, and my roots go back to Brooklyn and Pratt Institute as an engineer.
Oh, Pratt, okay.
Many moons ago, and they don't even have engineering there anymore. But
it's actually okay. But I mean, one of our classmates actually teaches at Pratt now. He teaches development at Pratt.
There you go.
Our architecture, Gerard.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal architectural school.
Yeah, they do.
Pratt. Absolutely.
So, one of the things they tell me I left out back in 2017, 18, me and him started talking like, hey, how about we do our own cigar line? Yeah. And we were just talking, and then met Wayne, got Wayne to come in, then we got Terrence. So it was just funny, like this was basically about 4 years in the making, 3 to 4 years in the making. Then when we all finally got together, we was like, hey, let's just do this and let's just launch. And here we are today.
That's right.
So you formed this company in 2020 as a corporation, I guess, right?
Yes.
So it's an LLC or something like that. Right?
Yep. And then
you formed it. And then did all of these cigars were released when? In 24 or
to 21. So we went live in was it February?
It was February.
But 21. Yeah, February 21, we launched at Petworth Cigars in DC.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're doing
with
Diane and Chris. And you know, we still within the COVID restrictions and everything, but they have like a nice outside area, so people was in and out. Had a great turnout. So we've been live for over 4 years now.
Okay, so but this year, New Orleans was your first PCA.
But for having a booth, yes, I went in 2021 just to get the lay of the land to see how everything was working in the cigar industry,
right?
Everything, and then we was like, one day we would get a booth. And what happened last year? We was like, hey, let's pull the trigger, and
that's what we got with Monique.
That we got with Monique. And again, I didn't see Monique.
And they pulled the trigger.
I saw Monique for years between EG's, Petworth here, and always.
I'm everywhere.
Yeah. Just knew her by face and always said hello to her and everything. And then it just came together over the past year. It just came together that she was like, hey, she came in part of the family.
Yeah. What we wanted to do is just make sure they were good, just wanted to make sure that, they had the right expectation set, going to it. And, Jimmie, from going for years, going to PCA as a retailer is different than being there behind the table, working as a brand. As it's two totally different worlds, and just seeing it, but actually working it is what the difference is. So we wanted just to ensure that, I could give them some of that insight. And then one of the Chauncey Ross, who worked with them as well, was integral because he used to work with Drunk Chicken as a rep. So he was able to go in and say, hey, this is what happened when I was here the last 2 years. So what I wanted to do is bring in people that already have the experience so that we can get them further along. And so it would be an easy, smoother ride. Let's say that.
I was going to say, as you started the company, and like you said, it's during COVID and then coming out of COVID, you would have events, I'm sure, at shops And those are fun, and you're interacting with friends, family, and new potential consumers of your cigar. But PCA, how did you enjoy the transition when you go in there and all of a sudden there's this massive amount of people and
So
everybody's smoking cigars and walking past
yeah,
your booth, and you gotta kind of, they're not there to see you necessarily, but you want them to see you and bring them in.
Yeah.
How did you transition over the days? Can you give me a little rundown on your day one to your day three, without getting too lengthy, but kind of how you fell into it, over the days?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, and I'll be brief too, because I know Punter has some, maybe has a different perspective. But day one was very, I won't call it overwhelming, but it was, it was definitely game time, right? And all of us are business people, right? So when we locked in, we were locked in. So setting up the booth, we set the booth up, got everything going, and what we really realized very quickly is that the PCA was very open, and what I mean by the PCA, just those who were coming in are very open to new boutique cigars. And although we weren't necessarily new in that sense, but we were new to them, to which we understood, and our egos are always checked at the door, right? Though we're the rooster and we're puffing our chest out, our egos are checked at the door because we're coming into a new industry and we understand that there's different types of, it's a pecking order with no pun intended. And so with that, at the setting of the booth, people really bought into our story, right? Because our story was genuine. Our relationship with each other is very genuine. And when they saw us interact with each other, they just, seemed to gravitate to us. More people through word of mouth with day one, day two, day three. It got larger and larger, the groups that came by to actually check us out. Now, obviously in the PCA, the way it was set up this year, a lot of the larger brands were on, I'm gonna just, for lack of better terminology, call it the west side, or the east side of the conference center. And then as they came by on the west side, they were coming with intentions, with already intentions to come by and see our booth, which is very, uplifting for me. I can't speak for the other gentlemen here. It was very uplifting, but people were looking for us. We also had these bags that we were giving out that people were starting to wear, right? And so people got notoriety of who we were. Also working with Monique and her team, she was actually getting her team was getting the name out there also. So it was just it was a very enriching experience. I felt like we really got the name out to the larger community of the cigar community. And as far as the lounges, I mean, we really mostly in the southeastern region. Going along as far as Texas is probably where we got our biggest hits with a lot of the newer lounges. But I think it was a good showing. I don't know, Punter, did you have anything else from there?
yeah. So when we were setting up on that Friday, me and Monique walked in after we got our badges. And it was so surreal because people still setting up. And I'm like, Tom drove around to back the car into the dock with one of the guys working with Angel. And I was like, wow, like we're in the big leagues now. Because I see all these big brands setting up these massive booths. And I see like they don't put like
10 by 10.
They're like I learned 10 by 10. They got architectures designed in like one had like the Mayflower, the Columbus ship. And I was like, wow. And I'm like, man, we're not in the minors. Like this is the big leagues now. And then at that time it clicked like, okay, this is game time. So we set up and then we left. And then on, like you said, Saturday morning, it was like game time. Like we got into a mode of, okay, let's do it. And while they was at the booth, sometimes I just walked around and were telling people, hey, come by our booth. It was 1514, which mind you, we got the same booth for next year as we did this year. It was an omen. It was open. We booked it yesterday.
It was meant for us. It was
the
meant.
same exact booth, which is amazing. So yeah, it was just, and then we were drawing people over to us, like you said, because we were right next to the PCA major lounge. So it was easy like to transition in while all three of us were there. Monique would tell you, we all just fed off each other. And then more and more people started getting engaged with our story. telling other people to come down. So, but it was like the first day, that Friday and that Saturday was like, wow, we're really in the big leagues.
Yes,
Like this is something that we could really do. And we met so many people there, and this was such a great experience. But again, I learned a little bit from 21 going in sort of as a retailer underneath my friend's shop. And I had 2 cigar caddies with our cigars in it, walking around giving out samples. Like, hey, this is who we are. From actually having a booth, totally big difference. But I really enjoyed it, the whole thing.
And you can't leave out the nightlife. So,
Oh
you
no,
know.
hey, hey,
Hold on.
hold on.
So how
We'll get to
did you?
that.
That's a good because Jimmie, it's long days and it's
Yep.
Long days and long
Right.
nights.
Especially being
Yeah.
one day is in Vegas. Vegas is Vegas, right? But
Right,
New
by
Orleans,
itself.
yeah. But New Orleans is one of those cities in the United States. It's a vibe onto itself. It's a city that a lot of us could live in, probably year round. And the vibe and the food and everything about the people, just walking on Canal Street, on the Bourbon Street, off of Bourbon, in the French quarters and everything. It was just a vibe. Oh man, I love New Orleans.
It's extreme culture as opposed, the Vegas is like it's its own culture, but it's just come on, let's be real.
It's almost made up.
You cannot compare these two
It's very
cities.
made up.
Okay,
there's no real
it's
history
all
in Vegas.
made up. It's all fake.
Yeah.
All right. But New Orleans is as real can get.
You said it.
It's so much fun. I mean, I actually went out and saw a full up jazz horn band. Okay, just no guitars and just horns.
Nice brass
A
band.
friend of mine took me out to, and I was just blown away. I mean, it just the
Literally.
music scene
Yeah,
there
no
is.
pun
You
intended.
said literally.
Pun intended.
But the horn got him. But they had
I
a lot.
mean, it's as good. If I think of some of the best music cities in America,
Oh, hands down.
New Orleans,
Yeah, sure.
Nashville, and
Number
Austin,
one.
Texas.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh yeah, Austin, yeah.
All three of those are just great places to go because you have musicians that are they're the best in the world.
They're authentic.
Kansas City. I went to Kansas City last year for
Kansas City
work.
has good- yeah.
Wow.
Good memories.
It was a Tuesday or Wednesday. I met up with some friends who lived out there. Took me to a place that had live jazz and R&B. That was great. And then they took me to a late night juke joint. Like that's what it was called. And I'm there like at 2 a.m. I'm like, I'm in a juke joint in Kansas City at 2 a.m. And there was like real musicians just coming in off the road and just having sets. And I'm like, wow. Like, so I would put Kansas City up there with some of the best music I heard live.
I'll
And French
agree.
Quarters had the one thing I love that they did for PCA is we went to a couple of little lounges that were kind of makeshift lounges that they made, and they had live music. It was also French Quarter, I want to say, festival.
Festival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
French Quarter
Oh,
Festival was going
Festival
on
is,
too.
So there was a lot of people
Oh,
there. So you had to get used to having the people around and enjoying that. But then the even better part is when they made it at 8 in the morning and you had to be up.
Yeah. That's a different program.
Yeah.
That's a different program.
Welcome to the big leagues, man.
Welcome to the big leagues. You got to get up. Now you had the chance to drink. You were out there all night, but now it's game time, as Tom said earlier.
You got the rum on the side, man. You take a couple of
Yeah.
swigs of that in your coffee in the morning, and you're ready.
Yes.
You got to fight fire with fire, Jimmie.
Got
That's
to
right.
fight fire with fire, but that's how
How about
PCA
Wayne? Wayne, what was your impression of PCA?
I actually did not make it to PCA because I
you
was
weren't
traveling.
there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish that I was. I'm trying to make sure I make the next one. It just didn't work out coordination wise. I was moving around a little bit.
Well, the good thing is you can do the Rooster Smoke House Part 2 because you got the same booth. It's in the same place. It's in New Orleans. I have a team of people here, colleagues of yours that got the lay of the land. They know what they're doing. They know where to take you, and so you're going to have even a better time because you don't have to figure this stuff out.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to miss another chance to go to New Orleans, man. I love that city. That's for sure.
Who doesn't?
Right.
Well, April 17th, back 2026.
Yep. April
Yeah,
20.
right after you pay your taxes on all these cigars.
Right. It's like, okay, now you're gonna pay your taxes, PCA. Let's get going.
Exactly.
Um,
I don't know. I
let me
got Trump's account.
go ahead.
I said I have Trump's accountant.
Oh, yeah.
And then pass them
Tell
over.
Let me just move quickly over to something else. I have your website up. I'm going to put it up in a second. Just show people some of the professionalism in your site. I like your site. It's very easy to navigate. Okay, it moves very simple. It's got all the information people want to know about on it. So let me pull it up here a little bit.
Hold on.
Okay.
Jimmie, before you go there, are you 21? Because you got to be 21 to enter our site.
I'm
You
in.
21? You there?
No, he's not
Oh, am I
21.
21?
You're
Are you
not
21?
old
You got to
enough.
be 21 to
He
enter the
can't
site.
go on. He's
Hold
too
on a
young.
second. Hold on a
He's too
second.
young.
So
Yeah,
65,
Cooper.
65 divided by 3 is what?
Right? That's almost
I
like
gotta think.
22,
So
21.
I guess he
Something,
get
something.
on.
Yeah, I'm close. Yeah,
Close.
21. Yeah, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm 21 at least 3 times over. So I guess I can do this. But good point. Yes, you got to be 21 to go to these sites. So I got your site up. I don't know if you see this
Yeah, we
on
see
the
it.
screen.
Yeah, we see
Yeah.
it.
So this is the
Casa.
page.
Those some
The nice
handsome
thing
fellas right
is
there.
that the whole thing
Uh,
just kind of scrolls through. So the first thing, you got a homepage, you got about us, where to buy, shop, subscription, and we're going to get to that in a second, and contact, and of course, all the important information is right across the top, which is a properly well done site. We've come down here, kind of gives you all the information we were talking about early in the show. Um, one of the things you do say, you want to be recognized as the premier boutique cigar company in the industry and speakeasy of online cigar clubs.
Mhm.
We're going to talk about that because I think that has to do with your subscription. And then here are the founders. And what I like about this? Each one of you's got a bio. Okay, that's quite normal. But each one of you's have an introduction video. Okay. So I don't know if this opens. I'm going to turn that down. It takes a little while to load, I notice.
Okay.
But each one of you have a little intro video telling you who you are. So if you put a very personal touch on it, and I like that. That immediately gets people engaged into who you are. And then because we went through these things, you repeat down here the things you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Very smart, because when people scroll, they're like, if this isn't here, well, you can have it down here, but right away you go, okay, shop our blends. So let's go to the blends. All right. So you basically had 4 blends: the architect, the accountant, the entrepreneur, and the genius. So
That's
I'm going to
correct.
start, and then there's the architect copy 1 and the entrepreneur copy. You can maybe explain that to me when we get there. But the architect, so this is a $13 cigar.
I thought we upped the price of those. This should be worth more. It's a good cigar. You're smoking it, right?
Bump the prices up based on the new.
So are these coming in?
Yeah,
Are these coming in regular boxes, or are they? Because you got box of 5, 10, 12, and 20. Explain
Yeah.
how your boxing is done.
Yeah, so our boxing right now is actually not really a box. If you do 20, you'll get an actual box. But if you do anything less than, right, then it'll come in a nice, presented bag. We have velvet bags for the 5, for the boxes of 5. So we have velvet bags that come in that. But the 10 and 12, they come in the larger, but you still get a velvet bag, and you also now get a book bag or a satchel, the same ones that we had at the PCA. They come along with that.
Okay. All right. So this is the architect. This is what I'm smoking. Connecticut. And Creole 98, the Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic, fillers. I get the caramel. I also get fruit in this.
Okay.
Okay, that right here. After about the end of the first third, I picked up some nice fruity notes. Let us go to the, I guess, the genius.
Mm-hmm.
So Wayne, you're up. Uh,
Well, Connecticut,
what kind of Connecticut is? Is Connecticut broadleaf?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
correct. Um, you know, I'm a simple man, right? So I try to keep mine pretty simple. Some people will tell you I'm complicated, but if you ask me, I'll tell you I'm simple, right? So Connecticut, Dominican binder, Dominican filler. It's a real simple, easy smoke. Again, something that I made to go with a nice aged rum. I like the simpleness of this cigar and the complexity along with a nice, to say 8 or 12-year aged rum. So when our blender Luis was sending us samples, he asked us kind of the flavor profile that we were going through or that we were going for. Cashews are one of my favorites. They're delicious. And vanilla is also one of my favorites. Leather kind of represents me as a person in the way that, I'm kind of thick-skinned, right? Kind of tough. So I'm able to deal with a lot of things. You can cut me, but you ain't gonna cut me. So my cigar and all of our cigars really represent our personality down to everything about it, from the taste to the finish. So if you are smoking the Genius, I really suggest a nice aged rum, preferably 8 years or more. Anything less than that won't really do it justice. I prefer 10 to 12 personally. What I'm sipping on right now is a 12-year aged rum. So and a rum that I would suggest, and I probably shouldn't suggest this because I'm not getting any sponsorship money for it at this moment, but there's a Venezuelan rum called Carupano, which is very delicious. You can get it in the 12, and the 18 is even better. I think you can get it in the 8 as well, but I would start at the 12. And if you get that Carupano 12 years with the Genius, you couldn't ask for a better pairing. You couldn't ask for a better night.
All right. Now I'm going to reshare again. I'm going to bring up the entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur is who?
Terrence.
That's Terrence.
All right. So somebody can speak for Terrence on the entrepreneur. That is a Nicaragua. This is kind of seems to be a very earthy cigar in my book. All right. I haven't smoked it, but just reading it, you got Nicaraguan, Honduran, and Dominican Republic. So I'm going to tell you what I think would get out of that. I'm going to get some earthy notes. I'm going to get some floral notes in there, some sweetness.
Yeah, and actually you'll actually get all of those. And I will say this, Jimmie. I mean, for all of our cigars, so this is what we call our founder series, right? Because we have a lot more series coming out afterwards. Because we actually purchased the Trilogy cigar line, which is the brand that actually brought us into the cigar business. So we have 22 blends total, 4 right now that we're putting out. So with that, we actually, to Wayne's point, we put it all around our separate personalities and profiles, but we all wanted each one of the cigars to be an everyday smoke. Right, so you're not going to get a whole lot of variation between the cigar from the first third to the back third. Excuse me, right? I mean, it will build up as natural cigars do as you get to the last third, but you're not going to get a whole lot of variation. It's something that when you're sitting down, if you're doing some business, or if you're just just enjoying the day, enjoying a view, or what have you, it will give you that same experience the entire way through. So with the entrepreneur, it's a very complex cigar in the sense that with the Honduran wrapper, you get a little bit more of the peppery taste from that cigar. Not as much as you will get with the accountant, which Hunter will speak to that. But it just gives you a little bit more complexity in the cigar so that you're not sitting similar, and it smokes from a medium to a full body. When you have the entrepreneur, and we would suggest that you start off, if you do a V cut, which most people do on a torpedo these days. I don't necessarily do that, but if you do that, we would say once you get to that first third, go ahead and do a straight cut, and then
Open
smoke
it.
really, it opens it up for you,
Hmm.
right? You really kind of can enjoy your beverage or whatever else you're doing with that cigar.
And just to build upon that, on your analysis is a very earthy cigar. That represents Terrence very well. He's a very down to earth kind of guy. You know what I mean? Very straightforward, very grounded, very matter of fact. You know exactly what you're going to get every single time with Terrence, and you know exactly what you're going to get every single time with that cigar.
Yeah. Same with you, Wayne.
All right, so now we're going to move to the last one in the line, in the founder's line, which is the accountant. Now, the accountant, I'm going to tell you, I smoked that today. I'm actually getting ready to, probably tomorrow, I'll work on putting out a review on this. But let me get your take on it, and I'm going to share this. We go. So the accountant is San Andreas, which is one of my favorite wrappers. Criollo 98 and Dominican, and you describing a black pepper, hints of cocoa, and toasted bread. Now, just curious, what did I get? A hint of pepper. I got a toasted cracker. I got dark cocoa later in it. So we're right on the same page. Okay, with so you properly described this. And I have some other notes that I picked up and some nice nuances that come through. But most definitely a tasty cigar. So talk to me about the accountant and how does this represent you?
For me, the best way I would say this represent me is because the peppery and the toasted notes is, I'm like a down to earth, I'm a spicy person. And they would tell you,
Yep.
I could
Yeah,
go
very
from
much so.
zero, I could go from 0
Yes.
1,000
It's the
in
Bronx.
maybe
Way to go.
3 to 5 seconds.
Like a
If you
death.
say one, especially if you texted me, and I don't understand your text. Like if I see your text and I'm like, what tone was this in? Then I automatically, it's like the New York take over in me, and I'm like, what you mean by that? And I start, and I start going up real quickly. I get real spicy.
That's very true.
I get really upset real quickly.
There are
I'm like,
no
yeah,
lies
yeah.
told. Statement. No lies told at all.
Yeah. So
Nothing
you-
wrong with that New York attitude. Come on, man.
That New York is there. It comes out. Believe
So
me.
yeah, so again, so what I did, especially now, full disclosure, I don't partake in spirits like I used to back in my 20s, 30s. But what I do, I have it goes well with a nice whiskey, a nice bourbon, coffee. I love drinking mine with coffee. I love drinking, like, I think Wayne's is another nice coffee one in the morning as well. I smoke it well, the Genius. So yeah, so it's like represent me in so many different ways of like the spiciness, the black peppery, where I could be sitting here talking to you real nice, and then also you say something to me, and then I get that New York like, I don't trust this person. And I started building up like, hey, get that guy away from me. I gotta leave. So that represent me, even in business. If I'm in a business meeting and sometimes I don't wear it right on my face, where somebody says something that I know they're wrong, and I'm like, please, like, I know you're wrong. Can I correct you? You can't, because you're trying to be nice. So it represents me 100%.
Dude, man, when I was in business, that was my biggest downfall. Is like I just said to people, "You're wrong," and I'm in a meeting with people, and I'm like, "No, you're wrong, and here's why." And some people appreciated that, and some people like, "Well, you should say that on the side to somebody." I said, "No, because we're designing something. We have to do it right." But not wrong. Okay. Here's the things that could go wrong with this. I'm a guy that subscribes to Murphy's Law at its fullest.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know,
There you go.
anything, anything
Amen.
that could
Yes.
possibly go wrong will go
Amen.
wrong in the worst possible moment. So
Absolutely.
I get into analysis paralysis, it's called.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to shoot the engineer and
Clear
start
mind.
the project kind of the guy.
Yeah.
You see it in accounting finance world. Well, if you say that you're wrong, and half the time I'll be sitting there like, I know this person is wrong, like they sprained it wrong. This is not the way you do it. And I'll be sitting there like, if I tell it to them, which I have, it didn't go well after, especially with somebody high ranking like a director, VP. And I was like, well, actually, this is the way you get it. It doesn't go well after the meeting because I corrected them. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I can't sit here and let you be wrong. So again, that's a peppery,
Yeah, let mediocrity go.
Yeah. There's no
This is what I
in my profession.
this what I'll say about Brian, right? He can talk to you nicely or he can talk to you spicy.
Yes,
That's right.
there's no in between. There's really I get in that gray area, but if I get in that gray area, I'm gonna start going to that spicy area real quick.
That's that New York in you. That's that New York.
Yeah,
Does your voice start rising up in
Yes, and
volume?
Oh, it
the
does.
accent comes out, and
Yeah.
oh, you're from New York. Okay,
Yeah.
I
And
get it
and
now.
people take you as abrasive, and you're really not abrasive. It's
Nah,
just being New
It's
York.
funny. One of my good friends, he's a professor at Winston-Salem State, and everybody told him, people was like, I speak well and got glasses on, and he just laughed. He was like, "Oh, y'all seeing the nice Brian? There's a side of him. Y'all keep on doing that. You're gonna see another side of him. If they keep on pushing buttons, and it takes a while for you to push my button. When you push my buttons, I go from 0 to 1,000. They be like, "Oh wow, I did never seen that." So I'm like, I keep it away for a reason.
Okay, and then just out of curiosity, the blends I did notice on here. There's also this like copy and copy. Is that just accidental on the website, or is that something new?
No.
Yeah, no, actually, that's probably that's an oversight on our side, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
our
right.
website sometimes be acting up, and we have no idea. So we go in the back office and fix it constantly. Yeah.
It's actually been sitting in my mind since you said it. So
Yeah.
I'm actually
Well, that's okay. I'm
yeah, it'll be sorted through. But
I
also,
spent.
what you might want to kind of click on there too is there's another.
Are you reading my mind? Are you a mind reader too? You're a genius.
That's what I'm telling you.
You are a genius,
yes,
and
that conclave.
talking about this
Yeah.
bad boy.
The
Yes,
Oh.
talk about that.
Okay, so here's the thing. So the conclave sticks are the Grand and Conclave. Me and Tom are part of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And we come out with these sticks every 2 years for our Grand Conclave. Is that we have every 2 years on the even years. Next year is going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we take pre-orders and we make these, and we get them to come in sometime like May or June of next year. So our master blender already got them made up, already hand rolled and everything, and we keep them there to age with him. And then we order wherever the pre-order number comes in, we order that plus a little bit more, and that's how it goes. And one is a 6x60, the other one is a 7x70. And both of them are very good smokes. Now, the clave,
phenomenal.
what that mean phenomenal? We had multiple lounges. One guy in particular out of South Carolina. The story behind this was he had it. So he had the first 30 were real smooth. He put it down. He said, came back an hour and a half later and sparked it up. He called us immediately, said, I don't know what your master blender put in here. But he said the back 2/3, he was sitting back and like just zoned out like this is a great cigar. Couldn't just think it. And he said, if y'all can get this into like a Robusto or Toro, this will sell out every single day. Like, yeah, so we're working on now getting that in a Robusto Toro. But yeah, like the clave is just unbelievable.
Now, see, now you get a little bit more information.
I don't
We got something coming out, maybe it's called the gallo, which is the rooster in Spanish. But yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that, but that's gonna have 5 different tobaccos in it.
Yes.
Now, one of the things I did notice, and you're not the first to do this, but it's interesting when brands do this. Does anybody know Michelle Henderson?
No,
Yes, cigar lady in that.
Should I admit her?
Yeah, they were having problems getting in
All right,
on
I'm going to
Facebook
admit
for some
her.
reason.
If something weird happens again live now, it's on
I know,
you.
right?
No, she's good.
Not need a
It's on
repeat of
me.
God.
Hey, Jimmie.
It's on me.
Here we go. Please
Hopefully.
There
make
she
it
is.
good.
All right.
Michelle, how
So
you
one
doing?
of the things,
Coming in,
one
turn
of
on
the
your
things
camera.
that, yeah, Michelle, turn your camera on. I will wait.
Michelle. Yeah.
So one of the things that you do is for, at least for this line, the founder's line, one blend, one Vitola.
Mhm.
Okay. And I imagine a Vitola is the one that you specifically enjoy.
Mute Michelle.
Right? Does that make sense? Is the one that you enjoy, that Vitola?
Yes, correct.
That's correct.
That represents you again with the representation as the founder. Okay.
Sure.
I've seen other companies do that too, because one of the what we all know that if you take this blend and you put it into a Robusto, a Toro, Lancero, it's not it's not going to be exactly the same.
Yes.
It's going to impart different notes. And there are companies that are like, no, I'm just going to do one Vitola, one blend. We'll do a different blend, different Vitola. And that represents the cigar. So, it's
No,
individual
100%.
preference.
And that's why, that's also a part why the Genius is a torpedo, right? That's why it's a little pointy at the end, because I am a little bit sharp. You have to handle me with care.
You're a pinhead, a little pinhead. You are.
Yeah. You got to handle me with care, man, because I'll poke you if you're not. So it's one of those things. But that's in part why it gives you a nice, good smoke. It's very direct. It's very smooth. And all of our cigars really represent our personalities. Not even just the blends, but the type of cigar that were made.
And like this Architect, I'm enjoying this right now for Connecticut. This one is definitely a cigar I could smoke any time of the day, morning especially, or last one of the night. We've been talking for an hour now, and I'm still not even at the band.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I smoke fast, so my entrepreneur is entrepreneured. So
Yeah.
I'm
Try to
just white
slow.
dude.
You got to slow your burn.
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
you got to
just
slow your burn,
puffing,
man. Learn to do that.
puffing.
You get more flavor if you slow your burn. I can tell you that right now.
Absolutely, and it's flavorful.
The other thing I want to talk about on your site is this thing called subscription packages. So let me just show that. So you got these subscription packages. You got the silver, gold, and platinum package. 4 cigars, 5 cigars, 6 cigars. What are you doing here?
So what we're doing with the subscription packages, and we're really trying to still codify that with those packages, and we're trying to get the fulfillment side set up first. We can make sure we can actually deliver, because what we don't want to do as a youth in the industry is not be able to fulfill, right?
Mhm.
So once we get the fulfillment side together, which we're talking to a couple of fulfillment companies, then we'll launch that. But right now it's more so just a teaser on the site that these things are coming. The folks who purchase from us now, we've had comments coming back asking about it, and we just kind of told them the same thing, right? Just hold tight. We're trying to get the fulfillment together, because what we don't want to do is have you order and not be able to make the fulfillment.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing from as a business perspective, want to make sure that we are able to deliver, right. And,
But what is it? Is it 4 cigars in your line?
yeah, so yeah, there are cigars in our line. Yeah, there are cigars in our line.
But I can already build my own in the other way, right? Kind of is
right. So what we have in the subscription package, so like I said in previously, is that so we purchased Trilogy cigars, which added 18 additional blends to our line.
okay.
Right. We have 22 total. Right. So those lines are going to be tested out through these subscriptions. And even from that particular line, we also have one that we're actually debuting This year, we brought it out to the PCA just a little bit for loungers who were interested and those that we knew. I think we maybe have given you one, but the Black Panther. So that comes out in February and it comes out in October, but in small
Black
small
Panther. I have to look for that because that I may not have recognized that as one of yours.
Yeah, because
I'll look through my collection from PCA. Yeah.
the one that we gave you still had the original trilogy blend. Excuse me, band.
It's this right here, the Black Panther band.
All right, I'll look for that.
Yeah, look for
Okay.
that. And,
Really good cigar.
and we're actually also going through. So that's a Cameroonian wrap on that particular cigar. But we're going through the different sizes. It was originally a Churchill. Now we're on a Lancero, which is my favorite kind of cigar actually now to smoke. But it's
Mine, yeah.
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 Can't get enough Lanceros.
Oh
Yeah,
man, let me tell you something. If I
boy.
walk into a place, I'm trying all the Lanceros.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
gonna sit with one. But what we're doing with that is as it comes out, we're actually going through a whole rebranding right now of ourselves. So right now with the band, you'll see the Rooster Smoke House. We're now going to RSH.
Right here.
What we have now on our
Shirts.
shirts.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's the RSH, still the same logo, but RSH instead of Rooster Smoke House. What we found when we were actually doing a lot of the different events is that people were just confusing us with a barbecue spot. Now, which I have, I feel like I have the best ribs. I'm from South Carolina, so I feel like I make good ribs, but that's not what I'm telling right now. You know what I mean? So
I can get it.
yeah, so with that, we're just dial back a little bit, trying to figure out what the industry was looking at, what we got when we went to the PCA, and just course correcting. We're married to our brand, right? And the blends that we have, we really curated those in a way that we really appreciate. But any other types of suggestions that we get, we have 22 other blends. You know what I mean? That we have the ability to put out there, and then that fits your palate, and that's what we're putting out. So that's what that subscription brand is going to end up doing, is figuring out for us what the world wants to see from the Rooster. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. That's always good.
And to build on what Tom is saying, right? So the subscription package is basically it's a way to reward our loyal followers, right? Because they will be introduced to these new blends that we have through that package, right? So when you show us, hey, we're rocking with you, we say, okay, well, here, try this out. Here's something else for you to check out, right? Because you want to reward the people that support you, right? And there's nothing better than something new, right? Something different. And if you don't like it, then the next go round, again, like Thomas said, we have a total of 22 different blends that we have. But what we didn't want to do is just put them all out at once and then have people suffering from decision fatigue or analysis paralysis,
That's right. That's it.
So we're going to roll things out slowly and methodically so that we're engaging the people on a very personal level with the things that they actually enjoy.
One of the questions I would ask, looking at your whole company and how you've got it all set up now, the prices that are on your page, direct to consumer, right, are the same as the retailer's price. And I bring that because here's the important thing. I want to make sure that when you you grow your brick and mortar base, that you don't undercut them on your page, because then why would people want to go to the brick and mortar? They'll go to the brick and mortar, smoke one, and they'll buy a box off you, and the brick and mortar loses out.
Yeah, so this may be a little bit of education on our behalf, but our thought process behind that, because brick and mortar is selling us for about $15 to $16 a stick, and they're moving at that price rate. We have them on our website at the $13 range, thinking that, and just thinking, and I'm gonna go speak for myself, and other guys can speak in, and we actually had this conversation. But for myself is that when I go to a lounge, I know that I can get online the sticks that I'm getting sometimes for Jesus, almost 30% less. You know what I mean? But I'm in a lounge, I'm paying for the atmosphere. I'm also paying premium for my drink. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So therein lies the gap that you see. And so we felt that the gap there wasn't so much so that we're undercutting in the sense that, okay, you know, if you want to come there, you might even come to a lounge, and most lounges maybe have a cut fee, right? So if you brought our sticks, you still are in 10, you know, $5, $10
Yeah.
on it,
Oh,
you know, for
that's
that.
bad etiquette anyway, going into
Yeah.
a lounge to smoke cigars.
Yeah.
That's a
Exactly.
pet peeve of mine. It's like even me, I walk into a if I walk into a lounge, I'm not even bringing in cigars to share with people.
Yeah, I do the
Okay.
No.
same.
Because it's no, you want to come over my house and sit back and we want to trade and share cigars all day long. But when I walk in a lounge, I'm going in. The only thing in my pockets is money, cutter, and lighter.
A lighter, yeah.
And
Because you
I'm
want
buying the cigars there, smoking the cigars I buy there, or bringing them home.
completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's 100% because people always ask me why I have so many cigars. Well, because when I go in a lounge, I'm purchasing cigars. So I end up
I,
smoking those cigars at the lounge, and those are the ones that I smoke. So
yeah.
it's definitely an etiquette thing, and definitely you need to ensure that you're uh supporting the lounges because if the brick and mortars aren't open, then cigars don't get sold.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I have a rule of thumb that I always buy at least 1 to 2 at any lounge I go in. Just find something like, hey, let me just purchase it. Like again,
Yeah, before the drink, buy a cigar.
yeah, before the drink, I buy a cigar just to support. But like, although I might have, I will come with some, but I also will also buy some to replenish and like it says, smoke there.
Yeah, and I know people that will do that. They'll go in sometimes and they'll buy up the cigars in the lounge, but they don't want to trust the lounge humidification to their liking.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they'll buy those, put them in their portable humidor, take one of their own out that's in their proper humidification and smoke it, and then go home with the cigars they bought from the lounge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just be honest. I'm gonna just be honest, man. I go to the lounge and I'll buy a cigar, but I tend to want to buy obscure cigars. There's a lot of cigars in the lounges that the lounges carry because they're name brand and people buy name brand, but that doesn't really mean that they're good cigars, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't go into the lounges and buy name brand cigars. I go and buy cigars that I'm not familiar with. I usually don't smoke the same cigar twice when I go into a lounge. I like to try different things, you know, just to see what's going on. Recently, I have found one, and there's no label, there's no brand for it, but it's a great cigar. I go in there to that lounge, and I buy that cigar. You know, even if I'm not gonna smoke that night, I'm gonna buy a couple of those cigars, and buy my drink and relax, and often enough, I'll take that cigar home and I'll smoke it, just because it's a good cigar, there, to your point, there is an etiquette to go into the lounge where you got to support them, right? And, we are fully understanding of that because our intention from the beginning was to actually open a lounge. The cigar company, as far as having blends, was kind of secondary, right? So here's another kind of aspect of how we came together was we came together and wanted to create a lounge because as a group of friends, we wanted to create some place where we can go, be comfortable, and smoke together and relax, and that others can come, be comfortable, and smoke together and relax, right? That was the atmosphere that we wanted to create. Now, COVID was like, yeah, it's a respiratory disease. You're not opening a cigar lounge right now, guy. So we understood that, and we pivoted a little bit because we were opening that lounge with the intention that we would originally do our own blend. And just a little bit of a history and background in alignment to what Tom mentioned before was that, the trilogy that we bought before, it's a really good line of cigars, right? And so when we opened our lounge, we were actually going to franchise that brand. We were buying into the franchise, and then the guy that sold it to us said, you know what, I'm kind of gonna get out of this aspect of the cigar business and shift to another one. And if you guys are interested, I would love to sell it to you because you guys have vision, and I know that you'll appreciate what I've created. So we've tried to make sure that we don't oversaturate, misrepresent, and misuse what he created and roll it out in a manner that's very methodical and intentional, because there is a value there. I am, out of all of the partners, I'm probably the youngest cigar smoker. So I probably started smoking cigars way after everybody else. And some of the
already reading my mind for what I was about to ask.
okay. So,
He's
you
a
know,
genius.
So let me ask the question on that vein. I'll ask you the question a little bit differently.
okay.
This is for everybody. So we'll start with Wayne. What was the first cigar you smoked, and how old were you?
Ooh, how old was I?
I probably smoked the Zebra cigar of the Trilogy brand, and I was probably mid-30s.
And now, with your experience, would you smoke that again?
I certainly would.
Okay. How about Thomas?
I'm doing some math here to see how old I was.
Okay, well, I can while you doing the math, you want to do while you doing the math?
Yeah.
While you doing the math, I think I smoked my first cigar like 2021. I was in college in Providence, Rhode Island. And I had a cigar, it probably cost like $5-6. I'm seeing a red label. I can't think of the name. I saw a red label. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Coughed a little bit. And I was like, okay, this is enjoyable. So, but as I got older and I started smoking a little bit more, occasionally smoke, then I started my palate started changing. And when I smoke that same cigar now, probably not, because I didn't know how much better cigars could get with age and seeing how they are made. And hey, how long I had to ask question, how long has this been aged? Oh, this been aged, the tobacco been aged 7 years, and then we age it another year or two. And so when I smoke it again, if I see it, probably not, but yeah, I definitely won't.
Yeah, so for me, so I used to work for an architecture firm that was right next to Corona Cigars in Orlando, Florida, right there on Orange Avenue.
Over in Sand Lake?
The one on Orange Ave, the original one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Okay.
the downtown one. Yeah.
Yeah.
By far the best cigar lounge, and I'm just giving some pub right now.
Oh,
The best cigar lounge I've ever been to in my life.
I
But when I was there, I used to have a graphic design business on the side. So I used to go in there and just have my computer up and do like business cards for lawyers or whoever the hell else was in there. You know what I mean? So I was just architecture, whatever they wanted to have, I was doing graphic design architecture for them. And then I got to meet the general manager at the time, and then he put me on to and I shouldn't to say this. I was smoking Black and Miles at the time.
oh, not the Black and Mild.
And this is in 2008.
I start somewhere.
College days.
It is in 2008. You're right, exactly. So 2008. So I was 25. I'm just getting into it, and I picked up a cigar. I don't know which one I picked up, but then he actually came and tapped me on the shoulder. Was like, "No, get this one." And I had a Davidoff 2000, which is what the architect this is actually modeled after. And that's probably one of the highest, higher pricing that I probably shouldn't have got into the cigar game on. But I smoked that cigar and fell in love with the industry. I mean, every day I was coming there and smoking that particular cigar in the tube, the Millennial Series. You know, I was smoking that cigar like it was a pack of whatever. You know what I mean? So I was smoking that cigar with all the money that I had, which was little at the time. And then I moved to like a CAO Brasilia. That was like my next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From there, and kind of grew from that kind of demographic.
Cool. How about you, Mo?
So I started in 2010, I want to say. And so we used to just smoke socially. I was promoting parties in Baltimore at that time. And so it wasn't a thing for me. I was just kind of smoking here and there. So my first stick was a Cuba Cuba.
Okay.
And first of all, it was given to me one because I'm female. So they're like, oh, smoke this. It's flavored. You're a girl. You'll
Oh,
like
this is a
flavor.
female cigar.
It's a female cigar, so you'll smoke that girl cigar. But I literally smoked it and I did not like it.
Yeah.
So it was too sweet for me. I automatically switched over. And then I went to a chapter, LFD. The chapter.
Boom,
Right.
boom.
I jumped. I went from
Good
one
jump.
end to the other because the guys were teasing me. And I was like, no, I'm good. I can smoke this. So I went full body. And I stayed
full body, full
body,
strength.
right, forever. Like I everything, if it was a full strength cigar, I'm smoking it. And so I stayed there like probably for the next 5 to 6 years. And then in between that, I started smoking, I tried mild, medium. I started doing my own mobile lounge. So then I wanted to smoke everything. And that's how I started smoking everything. Like, I'm not a box person. I'm going to smoke anything and everything that I haven't smoked. And I'm a lover of boutiques. I love to tell people like, hey, try this. Like, I think it was Brian that said, just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
And you won't know that unless you test your palate out on different things. So I'm a smoker of everything. I have more sticks than sticks got sticks. So yeah.
So I started smoking cigars in 1978.
Year before I was born.
You guys were not born then yet?
I was like
I was born a year later.
I was 7, but I wasn't
83.
So 1978, and I'll tell you, it was a Garcia Vega.
Oh, Garcia
Part of-
Vega.
I was
There
part
you
of a
go.
fraternity. I was part of a fraternity at Pratt Institute. We had our own house and stuff. Well, we all smoked cigars in the chapter room, and that's what we were smoking. We smoked Garcia Vegas.
Jimmy, we know about those Vegas.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And oh my God,
I know
man,
about those Vegas, Jimmy.
that's some nasty ass stuff, right?
It's a different kind of tobacco.
But then I was on a business trip after college, right? And I met up with this vendor who took us out to dinner. And he asked me and a colleague if we like cigars. We said, yeah. He goes, I was trying some other stuff, but he gave us a double punch.
Ooh.
Okay.
A big
Yeah.
one, like the big double
Yeah.
Corona.
Yeah.
And that was like my first real 2.5 hour smoke. I mean, it
Yeah,
lasted
takes
forever.
time.
And we looked at each other like we're living under a rock. And from that point, I went on a tear and just started trying everything and anything I can get my hands on. And then, of course, once I started Stogie Press 12 years ago, and I focus a lot on the boutiques, and I was the same way. You all people smoking all this stuff, and I'm not gonna lambast it all, right? They're all they're good, but did you ever hear of this? Never heard of that brand. You get one of those answers like that. What is that? I said, try it. You might be surprised.
So, it's funny. We had someone who's an active service member when we first, like 2021, I think it might have been.
I'm gonna be 22. Actually, when she came in.
Yeah. So we was at TG Cigars in DC, talking to her. Her name is Ernestine Epps. She's in the Army. And I remember I think she might have been smoking a Torre Fuente or something. I forgot what she's smoking. Say, hey, I got my own cigar brand. Try it. She said, all right, I'm gonna try it. And when I gave it to her, she literally put down the Torre Fuente and smoked out. She was like, I like this.
Yeah.
And that's why that's when I first rigged it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, okay, so our cigars hold up against some of the name brand ones. And then you start digging more and more, like, hey, all the tobacco is grown in the same industry, the same country, the same areas. Because it's not like I could go in Tom's backyard and plant tobacco. It's going to grow. It's not going to grow the same because it's got to be valleys and different places. So that's how I started learning more like, wow, like we could really expand this. But let me pick it back up this. I think I really turned, so I was smoking off and on, having a good time, trying different cigars. But I fell more in love with the small batch boutiques, the brands was in it. 2026, we in Hollywood, Florida. I'm at the NABA, the National Association of Black Accountants conference, and we went to Little Havana in Miami.
Oh,
And there's a cigar shop, you know.
Bonbons.
Yes, I'm sorry. These are one of my, other than ours,
good.
this is one of my favorite cigars. So Bello Cigar, they've been in industry, I think it's like the early 1900s. Go across the street, and I walked in and they have something called bonbons. And I'm like, what is a bonbon? I don't know what this is. And I bought a few of them. And they about yay small. And
It
it
looked
was
like a bonbon.
It looked like a bonbon. And they had green, black, and blue. The blue was like more the medium to bold. It absolutely fell in love. And I was like, oh, I must start smoking even more. Because that stick just opened my palate up to, I got to start trying more and more. And then before you know it, I started, every time I go around, if it's not a boutique, I need to try this, then you try this. So, and I don't think they make the bonbons no more, but that's one of my favorite cigars that got me more into the industry.
right.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on, we'll be on the hour. I just one more question for you all. So you all have real jobs, okay? How often do you get down to the factory? How do you work the process when you're doing a new blend with the factory? Do you get down there? Do you see what they're doing? And if you did get down there, what is something that you learned that you did not know about the industry just smoking cigars?
Yes, I mean, I'll take this one, guys, if you don't mind. I mean, so La Tradición Cubana with Luis Sanchez. I mean, he is he was a blessing to us from Henry Stokes, who used to own Trilogy Cigars, and that's who introduced us to Luis.
Who now, real quick, is one of the founders of Atlanta Cigar Week.
Oh yeah, and that's Cigar Week.
Oh,
Henry.
okay, good. Yes. I know Harry.
So when we go down there, so when we're doing a new blend, I mean, to be in full transparency, it started off as us being you know, in our own different areas because we're not down there. So Luis sent us a whole lot of different blends and a whole lot of different sizes. So it was a great time smoking through all those different cigars, trying to figure out what we wanted to do. But we also made it a point to go down with him. And at that particular point in time, he had a storefront. So the factories are down in Miami, where everything is stored, rolled. There are the bonded factories, so we're good there. But he had a storefront in North Miami where you would go in there and you sit down at this, you know, he's Cuban, he's a Cuban national, but American. But his grandfather kind of got him into the business. And you sit down with him, he'll brew up some Cuban coffee.
Yes, some great Cuban coffee.
And you'll have these stories about his family.
Yep.
And the cigars and cigars in general. So to answer your other question about what did we learn the most, it was just more so about the passion. Me personally, it was more so about the passion behind the industry, understanding what the industry stood for, understanding how deeply entrenched the roots really were, and how that was affecting me. And so just from seed to actual smoke, you kind of get the whole idea of what's going on, you know, and that was just sitting in his, you know, just in the storefront, and you kind of go and actually see the leaves and what's going on there. That's a whole different story, right? So it's just it was just that whole experience that really, for me, clicked in my mind that, you know, we really are tapping into something that has roots that are far beyond, you know, my expectance and knowledge. And we got everybody, to become cigar tobacconists before we actually even launched the business through Cigar University. Just so that we can all just kind of have an understanding and talk intelligently about what it is that we're doing, because through that experience and understanding and just seeing the passion that Luis would just tell us the stories about his grandfather in Cuba, last time he saw him, you know, the cigar he has for him, smoking the cigar that he's had since that time. I mean, I understand, and then smoking that particular cigar, which probably is my favorite cigar, actually.
Yes.
But smoking that particular
For a
cigar,
time.
and understanding what and how you can kind of pull from the leaf itself, the history that's there, and then kind of understanding what's really behind the leaf, if that makes sense.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
Anytime I go to South Florida, and I always call Tio.
Yeah, Tio.
And I will go
Yeah,
down.
Tio not here today.
See, yeah. So it's funny. Monique knows Tio because he moved up to Lakeland. He opened up a bigger lounge, and we didn't know it until she was like, Luis Sanchez was like, yeah, that's our master blender. So it's not connected the dots. But when I go down there, I would go sit with him I would go in there, but I'm gonna stop by, see you real quick. And then all of a sudden, I'm there 2-3 hours long, just smoking, having coffee, and having a great time with him, and hearing all the different stories. Like Tom said, this between the leaves and how everything connects. And before you know it, he done gave me like 3 or 4 cigars to try, and I'm smoking. I'm like, man. And that's how I got more entrenched. Just talking to him for about 2 to 3 hours, you will open your mind up. You be like, man, and he teach us so much. Teach us about like the original cutter of the original not the torches, but like he got one of the original old lighters, the flame lighters from I forgot which one it was. Yeah, the soft flame. He just teaches us all, and I'm like, and I'm trying to soak it all in. It's like next time I see him, I was just going to videotape him and say, go tell us the whole story, because when you sit down and talk to him, it's so much like wealth of knowledge that you just learn. And I'll be like, I can't even. It takes me days to decompress to understand what I just learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'm here with him now, and I like Brian was saying, I didn't realize it until we were at PCA. So I had moved up to Lakeland, like he was saying, and they just opened this spot. It's called La Traditional de Cuba.
I have to get over there.
Yeah, and it used to be the old Velasquez spot that was here. And so he took that over. He had been here only 3 months. And so him and his wife Lourdes were moving up from Miami. And I had came up, and he was here by himself, and I just sit with him. Like now, that's what I do. I watch him put labels on. I watch him put the bands on. He talks about Cuba and, the lifestyle that they had. And it's just such a wealth of knowledge that, I want to know what's in this. Like, how did it get here? What are we doing? And so Luis, he'll sit here and talk to you for days, but the best part of it is the Cuban coffee. So he always comes out with his little silver.
I don't know what he puts in it.
Pours a little cup, white cup, and the best, right?
And I have promise. If Tio's watching,
yep.
If Tio's watching, I did promise that I would come in for a few days and actually work in the lounge with him so I could get more experience. I promise him that because I want to know more on how it's done more like behind the scenes. Because I'm telling you, you just talk to him, you be sitting there like,
yep.
What did I just learn? What did I just learn? And it's almost like you got to get a pad and start writing stuff down. And you be like, oh, wow, like, I don't believe he just told me that. It's so much knowledge that he just sit and talk to you within 1 hour. If you're there for 3, it's like a encyclopedia.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And he's not here today, but his wife has been in the business with him for just as many years. So they work here. They've got a stick that's for her. It's called Lourdes. It's a sweet stick that they made for her. And he actually sells his house blends out of here. So he's got his house blends that he sells, and that sells even more than the ones that are in here. Once a person tries it, it's delicious. It's delicious.
Are you there right now, Mo?
Yeah, I'm here right now. This is La Traditional. I figured it would be
perfect.
Perfect spot.
Who's working it? Is his son working today?
No, his son I haven't met him yet. Lourdes is here. I usually sit here with her, but she's normally here or he's here. He spends most of his time here. So I'm usually sitting here with them. It's an outside lounge. So even when the weather's here, it's still a good spot to come, relax, and just decompress and learn. Education is everything.
Yes,
absolutely. All right. So before we close, one last question. Going back to PCA real quick. Okay. How many accounts did you open up at PCA? How successful were you?
For PCA, in full disclosure, we had 62 people interested. Right now, we've successfully sold orders to 3 out of the 62. What we
Okay. So you're
found,
still knocking on the doors of the others,
yeah, yeah. So what we found out though is that, and maybe it's another question I'm adding to our list to ask, is that the big name brands require a certain amount of spend at a certain time of the year. So it sounds like we're really going to pick up in the fourth quarter
Yes.
because most everybody is trying to get their spend done by June, right? So
Yeah.
now we're almost into July.
So
And
you
so
learned something. You learned something very valuable. Yes.
yeah,
Correct,
yeah, yeah.
correct. We talked about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we can't go out there thinking that okay, it's because of all these names, they're gonna get us. We're good. We make sure our stock is good so we can fulfill. No, it's really understanding their business model, right?
Yes.
About what they have in their companies, which we can accommodate.
But you did capture one of the things that they're very good on, and I put my data entry skills while they talked. We did capture.
Yeah,
We captured a lot of information, a lot of shops. We got their information, their point of contacts, and their information to follow up. So we did over, I think, almost what 80
Yeah, almost said
or
yeah.
more, somewhere around in there.
Except
So
for
we
one of
did.
them. Go ahead, Mom. I'm sorry.
No, so we were able to capture that information because now we know what to do. We send out the information ahead of schedule, talk to them, give them some samplers because it's a lot for at the shows when everybody's in there, everybody's getting sticks, nobody's smoking those sticks. They're bringing the sticks back. They're going to go through them. When you come to a show, their budgets are pretty much set, appointments are set. That's already done. Everything after that is kind of just them going around to see what else they can do. So at that point, you need to, now that we have that, we've got a leg up for next year. So I think the guys will do wonderful. Now they know what to expect. And that's kind of what we wanted to just show them that, hey, put your expectations at this is getting out there and saying, hey, we are RSH cigars and this is what we have to offer. And so they've done an excellent job of it.
And shops in general, when they look at new brands, they want to see that you're sustaining yourself. They want to see that you are not here today, gone tomorrow. All right. So you get tested in this industry. All right. So once you start to build, it builds upon itself and it eventually accelerate. My metric when I look at cigar brands, the goal you want to try to hit eventually is now that you're actually pushing and you did your PCA, I'll start the clock now,
yeah.
right? 5 years from now, you should be in 300 shops.
There you go. I
Wow,
like
okay,
it.
yeah,
I like the number.
That's attainable. That's
I like the
attainable.
number.
Hit that number in a consistent reorder basis. It's going to require you to make visits to shops. It's going to add more time. You're going to be spending weekends on the road and going around places. But if you're showing your face and you're showing it, you'll get to that number. And when you get there, you have a very successful line of cigars.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I can with you on saying that, I must give a shout out to the folks who carried us for the longest.
Yeah.
TG Cigars, Petworth, and Cigars at Sunrise. They've carried us as well as Haines City Quarters down in Florida. They carried us almost since we've been in inception.
Very good.
I must give a shout out to those lounges.
Okay, folks, that's the show tonight. Don't forget, you can go to rshcigars.com, check out what they've got. Pay attention to this brand. This brand is moving forward. They've got their chest out. They're going for it. They want to be in your humidor. So check them out. With that, remember that this show will be archived in a week. It'll be on my Stogie Press YouTube channel forever. So you guys can grab that and you can do what you want with it, clip out of it, use it So it's free to use for you. I give you the full opportunity to do that. I'm not going to be mad that you use my video.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
that kind of guy.
Thank you so
Um,
much, Jimmy.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Appreciate it. We appreciate you for having us on, and getting the guys together. I'm glad to see you guys. You know, I don't see you all the time, but I can't wait till you get down South Florida. So come
yeah.
on down and visit.
Absolutely.
All right, all. Okay, with that, this show's a wrap.